Hey guys, how's it going? This is another episode of Sugar and Spice in the Kitchen. You're in the kitchen with Sugar and Spice. Thank you so much for joining us. This is our second episode. We're still playing around with our configuration with cameras and computer equipment and whatnot. So you may not see Sugar in the camera view as much as you're going to see me, of course. She's going to be behind the camera. She's going to come help us out with this a little bit, but primarily you're going to be with me this evening. So thank you so much. Tonight, what are we making? Well, one of our favorite vegetables in our household is, of course, cauliflower. And cauliflower right now is like one of the hot things to, put on a menu. Everyone loves it. Everyone's finding new ways of creating dishes and accentuate the flavor. It's healthy, cruciferous vegetable. There's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of flavors. You can sort of go sweet. You can go in all different directions. You can, put it in almost any cuisine and it fits, all right? Whether it's Korean, Indian, Thai, whatever, American, you're grilling it, Middle Eastern, flashing it with extra virgin olive oil, lemon, and salt and whatnot. Tonight we're doing sort of a little bit of a play on, I would call like a jardiniere. A little bit, it's going to be like a pickled or like a warm vinegar cauliflower salad. And of course, that's, some would look at that and say, oh, it's the side dish. But you know what? I would consider it like the main dish. Okay, that's the highlight of what we're cooking tonight. On the side, to go along with the cauliflower, I decided to do a tri-tip, all right? So you can see the tri-tip. There's a head, there's a tail. That's probably about an inch and a half, maybe a 2-inch thick cut. So, it's going to cook very quickly. It's got a little bit of marbling, a little bit of connective tissue on the top. I'm going to clean off a little bit more of that connective tissue, just so when it cooks up, it's not tough. And so I'm trimming off some of this connective tissue here, as you guys can see. When you're putting this on the grill, summertime barbecue or whatever, you're going to grill it up. You want that fat cap. That fat cap's absolutely amazing. And usually you put it on the fat cap side first, and you'll cook it for, about 5 to 7 minutes, sort of render off a little bit of the heat. Or render a little bit of the fat off, and then you'll turn it over and cook it on that lean side. And then basically that fat side is sitting there, it's rendering. And, of course, anybody who has lived in California for a period of time or born and raised here, they know that, tri-tip, this is a tri-tip state. This is where, you'll find some of the best tri-tip around. A lot of other states, they don't even know what tri-tip is. And the secret behind tri-tip is the resting time. So I'm going to share that with you. Basically, right now we're going to salt and pepper it. We're going to let this temper sort of come up to room temperature a little bit before we cook it. Okay. Some fresh ground pepper, a little kosher salt. All right. Flip that over. Going to do the same to the other side. Okay. Can always season it afterwards too. Some of the seasoning might come off. Tonight we're going to be doing it in the pan. I love to pan sear these things. If this thing's too big for a pan that you have, just cut it in half. All right. Again, it's about the same thickness, about evenness all the way across. So it's going to cook at the same rate depending on if it's the head or the tail. I love to do it in a cast iron pan. When it's on the grill, everyone's favorite part is the grill marks, nice and caramelized. Well, when you put it in a pan, crank that pan up super, super hot. You put it in the pan, and it'll just sear it, and it'll create a beautiful crust with that salt and pepper, and you'll have that really nice caramelization on the outside of the steak. So right now, we're going to let that temper. We're going to take care of the salad. Right here we have one head of cauliflower cleaned. We're going to bring that up to a simmer We're going to blanch the cauliflower for about 4 minutes or so. I got an ice bath on the side. All right. We're going to shock the cauliflower to, stop it cooking and keep it at a certain doneness. We're going to do the same. I have 2 red bell peppers sliced thin, membranes removed, all the seeds removed. So we're going to do the same on that. This is going to come up. Let's put the lid back on, let it come up to a simmer. And then after we cook those, we cool them, we drain them. We're going to put them in a large bowl, and we'll put together our warm vinaigrette. Okay, I'll show you how that's done. So cauliflower, I grew up with cauliflower. I grew up in Hollister, California, Northern California, agricultural area. California has a lot of produce, as most people already know. But when you get into different areas in California, they produce very specific things. So in Hollister, it's cherries, apricots. Castroville, that's where the cauliflower comes from. So we were always, when we were growing up, we always had different cauliflower stuff. We were grilling it constantly. It was always, sautéed, garlic butter, whatever else. Making purees, making mash out of it. Cauliflower soup, one of my favorites. So very, very versatile. I think that's why it's come into so many homes and so many restaurants across America. Fairly inexpensive. And it goes a long way too. This is one head, all right? That's going to feed, 4 to 6 people, especially when we get the other ingredients in there. Okay, so that's coming up. The other thing we can do actually right now while we're waiting for the water to come up is for the warm vinaigrette, we're going to put in a cup of extra virgin olive oil. Okay, so I have a cup measured out there. We're going to pour that in. Okay, we're going to add, let's see, that's about 8 cloves of garlic. Okay, sliced thin. And we're going to know this is ready when the garlic starts to brown just slightly. That's when we're going to add in all the other ingredients. We want to turn that down to a medium. We definitely don't want it burnt. We don't want it dark. We want it lightly golden. Okay, because it's gonna infuse that oil. It's gonna add a little bit of a crisp to the vinaigrette, and when we add all the other ingredients, you'll see what happens. It warms it up. It brightens everything up. All the other aromatics that we're putting into it will open up. All the essential oils will open up. And when we add it to the cauliflower, we add it to the bell peppers, it's going to warm through. It's going to warm all those vegetables. It's going to slightly cook. It's going to penetrate all those vegetables, cellular walls, and those vegetables will lock in that flavor, okay? So let's take a look. Okay, so that water's up. Okay, you guys can see it's at a simmer. All right. We're going to just dump that in, okay? Be very careful, all right? You're working with hot water. You're working with hot oil. They're in close proximity to each other, all right? Just give that a little stir. Again, it's about 4 minutes that we're going to simmer this cauliflower. We're basically going to just put it in, bring it back up to a boil, okay, because it needs a little time to recover once you put in the cauliflower. It's going to come back up to a boil, and at that point, we're going to just, take it out, shock it, stop it. And the other thing that you want to do is as you're cooking, as you're going along with the cauliflower, you want to take out a couple pieces, shock it in the water, taste for doneness, all right? I like things on the crispier side. You might like it on, a little softer. Just cook it a little bit longer. You definitely don't want to let it boil over. If you cook cauliflower for too long, it starts to release gas, all right? It starts to smell really bad. It's like any other cruciferous vegetable, whether it's broccoli or it's cabbage or Brussels sprouts. You know, everybody thinks of those types of vegetables like, oh, they stink. You know, well, that's because you're overcooking them. The other thing is too is you know, they get really mushy and they lose their sweetness. So the faster you cook them, okay. So we can see 1 second here. We can see that garlic is starting to come up. Okay. So basically, you just want to turn that down to the lowest setting, right to a simmer, okay? So if you cook cauliflower, the best thing to do with it is cook it very fast, all right? It'll retain the sweetness, it'll retain that nice crunch. You want that texture, especially since it's a quote-unquote salad, all right? So like I was saying, I'll just pull out a small piece, just dunk it into the ice-cold water over here. Not quite to my liking. We're gonna put the lid back on. Keep cooking that. The vinaigrette right now, we can make that. It's very very fast, very easy. Okay. So you got the garlic with the oil. It's not quite there yet. You can see it's gonna start browning. We're gonna let it brown a little bit longer. And the smell is amazing. This garlic, oh my God, the perfume that's coming up, it's awesome. I mean, it's going to fill your house. If you have people coming over, if you're cooking dinner for your family, they're going to smell this. They're going to just naturally be attracted to what's happening in the kitchen. Maybe you can put them to work. Maybe not. All right. Now, I didn't mention these, the cauliflower, I sliced it into very small florets. You know, I'm trying to give them enough surface space so they can blanch, so they can cook, so they're bite-sized, you know. You can go bigger on these things, but you really just want to be able to pop it right into your mouth, okay? And again, when it sits and it marinates, if the pieces are too big, that marinade's not gonna penetrate. All right. Okay, so I think these are good. We can start pulling these out, putting them in the ice water. The next thing we're gonna do is the bell pepper. Okay. Make sure these are drained really well before you put them into the mixing bowl. You don't want any water in there. All right, it'll take the flavor away from what you're doing. It'll make it soggy. You really want the essence of everything that you're cooking. Okay. Now, normally, if I was just cooking a bunch of cauliflower and I was done cooking, I would just take it over to the sink, pour it through a colander, drain it off. But you know, I am going to be using this water for the bell pepper, so that's why we're going through this process here. Okay. Okay, so yeah, make sure that's down in there. All right, just sort of stir it around a bit. There's, you know, it will stay warm until you sort of agitate it. You mix it around with the ice. I put the colander inside of this large container that we have because I don't want those ice cubes in there. I want to be able to just pull the colander and the cauliflower out all at one time without having to fish through and take out all the ice cubes. So our water is up, is hot. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to let this cauliflower drain while we're dealing with the bell pepper. Bell pepper is going to be very, very fast, okay? It's you know, it's really nice raw. You don't want it mushy. This is going to take about a minute, if even that, 30 seconds, okay? I'm probably going to pull it right about now. I just wanted to give it a little bit of heat. All right, I'm going to start pulling it now. putting it in the ice water. Okay. This garlic's looking good. It's coming around. All right, a little bit easier to take it out with a strainer. That's one thing about our kitchen. I do what's called a kitchen alignment, and that's where I go through. I literally take everything apart in our kitchen, put it back together, and just make it as efficient as possible. So these bell peppers are done. I'm just placing it on top of the cauliflower. We're done with that hot water, okay? So we're going to turn that off. We're done with this cold water, so we don't have to deal with this anymore. Okay. All right, we'll allow this cauliflower and these bell peppers to drain. Okay, I'm going to move this pot to the side because what we're going to do, we're going to bring over this pan. I've had this pan in the back heating up, okay, just keeping warm. That's the other thing too. If you know you're going to have some steak or you're going to have something you're going to be cooking at high temperature, you know, it's okay. Especially cast iron, you know, put that pan on the back burner, get it warm, get it hot. You know, keep it at a temperature that it'll only take a couple minutes to heat it up. You know, that's what it's all about. You know, being more proficient in the kitchen and getting to know your equipment and timing. Okay, that's what separates home cooks from professionals. You know, they have that sort of inherently and ingrained too. You know, the more time you spend in the industry, the more you're going to learn those things. So I'm heating this oil up a little bit more. We're getting that garlic there. Okay. I'm going to use extra virgin olive oil for the cast iron, for the tri-tip. Just a little bit because, again, that tri-tip has a little bit of that fat cap. I didn't trim off all the fat. When it goes in there, it's going to render off the fat, and then we're going to flip it over to that lean side, okay? All right, so you can already see there's a little bit of smoke coming off that pan. I'm going to grab the tri-tip, fat side down, all right? Listen to that. And thankfully, in our kitchen, we have lids for our cast iron. Okay, not everyone has a lid. You could use another pan to put on top. You know, lids are a great thing to have to sort of cut down on splatter. You know, avoid any sort of flame up or anything like that. Okay, so this garlic is there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to turn the heat off on the garlic. I have half of a yellow onion sliced very, very thin. I'm going to add that to the garlic and the oil. Okay, I'm going to toss that around a little bit. Okay, just make sure it's nice and coated. Make sure those onion slices are warmed through. I'm going to add in a little bit of vinegar. Looks like we got a little something in our vinegar there. Okay, all right. So I'm going to add the vinegar to the olive oil and onion mixture. I'm going to add a little bit of sugar. So that was 1 cup oil, half of a sliced yellow onion. That's let's see, 3/4 of a cup of red wine vinegar, the best that you can afford. That's 1/3 cup of just granulated white sugar. That's going to go into the mixture as well. Okay. We're going to heat that up a little bit more. We're going to put that back on the heat. We want to dissolve that sugar. We want to warm up those onions. Okay, so sounds like our tri-tip is cooking away really nicely. All right, we don't want to be afraid to get some color on there. Okay, so that's all right. That's got a little bit of color, but we definitely want some more. All right, so that's, you know, that piece can take some heat. All right, so what I like to do is called hot spotting. You know, I like to turn the meat. Just shift it in the pan. You know, it was sitting here. That spot is cooler than where I just moved it to. Okay, so that's going to help with the searing process. Make sure your heat is up all the way. All right, you don't want to burn it, but you want to get some color on it. That's where all the flavor is. Okay. So I'm going to just taste this really quickly, make sure all that sugar is dissolved before I add in the other ingredients, because after I add in all the ingredients, I'm going to turn off the heat. Yeah. That tastes great. That tastes really good. Lots of flavor there, okay? You got to realize it's going to be going on to, you know, partially cooked cauliflower. So it needs to have a sharp, sharp flavor. Okay, so I'm going to turn the heat off on that. I'm adding some bay leaves, 3 whole bay leaves. We're going to let that sit in there. Okay. 2 tablespoons of fresh chopped thyme. 2 tablespoons of my favorite, of course, marjoram. Okay, let that sit. Let all those flavors come together. That heat from the hot oil is just going to draw out all those essential oils. All right. So let's go back to our steak. Our tri-tip over here. All right, that's looking good. Again, I'm going to move it again. Another hot spot just to get it seared up a little bit more. Okay, so while that's still searing on that one side, we're going to take the cauliflower, the bell peppers, we're going to move it over to the bowl. Okay, so in the bowl already, I have a half cup of golden raisins, okay? I have about 12 of these cascabella, or they're known as like hot yellow peppers. These are ones that you'll find that they serve like at In-N-Out or other burger places. Here's a whole one just so you guys can see that. You know, you can get them at the store. They're super delicious. We eat them with everything in our house. I'm going to make sure that the cauliflower and the bell peppers are fully drained. Okay, just give it a nice shake. Okay, gonna put that in. I mean, we're almost done with the salad there, okay? I'm gonna flip this tri-tip over, all right, as you guys can see, or maybe not from that distance, but I'll bring it over to you guys. I mean, look at that. Look at the color on that. That's beautiful, right? Look at that, okay? So guys, it's not a rush job. You know, you really want to take your time searing the meat, making sure there's some good color on there, cooking it. You know, you don't want to burn it. Like I said, you don't want your heat cranked up so high that you burn the other side. You're cooking the meat, okay? You're not just searing it. If you were just searing it, you'd, of course, caramelize the outside, throw it into the oven, and let the oven do the cooking. But because we're doing it oven top, you know, it takes a little more finesse. You know, you definitely want to, like I was showing you, to hot spot it a little bit. Let me fix the the computer here. Okay, so while that's searing on the other side, we have our warm vinaigrette, all right? We have our beautiful salad, okay? Look at that, look at that. Oh my goodness, that's awesome, okay? So just pour it over. Pour it over. Let it marinate. Give it a good toss, okay? The smell is incredible, all right? This is awesome. And you know, you're gonna look at this and you're gonna say, well, you know, there's like a little bit of vinaigrette in the bottom of the bowl. It seems like a lot of sauce for the amount of veggies. That's okay. That's good stuff. You know, you want to soak your bread in that. You want to dip your meat in that. You want to pour that over the grilled chicken that you're making or the fish or whatever else. If you're not doing tri-tip, you know, this salad is awesome with everything. It's awesome by itself, you know. So it's all up to you what you want to do. You know, if you want it a little bit spicier, definitely add some more cascabella or pepperoncini work too. You know, that's another marinated. If you can't find cascabella, that's another marinated pepper that you'll find readily available at your supermarket or sandwich shop or deli or whatever. You know, give this a good toss. All right, a really good toss. All right, you definitely want to make sure everything is evenly coated. Take a taste. Always got to taste it as you go. Now, remember, it's got some sugar in there. It's got some sweetness, it's got some vinegar, some acid. I'm going to hot spot this real quick. Okay. So, remember, it's got sugar, it's got acid. You still have to season it. You still have to put some salt in it. All right. A couple chef pinches. I have this great pepper grinder at home. It just has the biggest, coarsest chunks of pepper that come out, and I absolutely love it. I use it on all the steak and chicken here. You can see that on camera. Watch, let me show you. We love black pepper too. Look at that. Ooh, look at that black pepper just on there, okay? Again, give it a nice thorough toss, okay? And this salad is definitely best if you can leave it in the fridge for at least half an hour, if not an hour or more. If you make it today, serve it tomorrow. I like this salad with, not too cold. I don't like it straight out of the refrigerator. I like it brought up to room temperature. I feel like your palate can pick up the flavors a little bit more when it's, there's not a chill on it. Dude, that's beautiful. You can taste those bay leaves. You can taste the marjoram. Everything's in balance. You get a couple sweet notes from the sugar, but there's also those golden raisins in there. The sweetness from the cauliflower. All that's coming into play, the acidity of the bell pepper, the sweetness of the bell pepper. That's how you know you have a really great dish, is when you have this really great balance, okay? So that's taken care of. We're going to set that aside. We're going to give a little love to this steak. I'm going to switch out my cutting board, all right? I have a fresh, clean cutting board right here. Wash off my knife. Okay. All right, let's check this out. Now, we're going to fast forward a little bit on this tri-tip. The best way to do these tri-tips, again, the secret that I was sharing with you earlier is it's got to rest, okay? Normally these guys, where they're doing roadside tri-tip, yeah, look at that. Take a look at that. I mean, that's awesome. Okay. So these guys who are doing roadside tri-tip, they're doing tri-tip sandwiches or barbecue tri-tip or takeaway or whatever. You know, the tri-tip you're eating from them, they're not cooking it to order. All right, that stuff's been sitting in a probably like a igloo cooler or some sort of warmer, and you know, it's at like 160 degrees. Shh, don't tell the powers that be, but it's probably sitting at about 150, 160 degrees. It's resting, and it's doing the cut of meat justice. All right, all that the muscle tissue that is sort of seized up from cooking is now relaxing. Okay, it's getting to a temperature where it's like relaxing. All those juices are reabsorbing into the meat. You know, again, if things are too hot, your palate has problems picking them up. If they're too cold, again, palate has problems picking them up, picking those flavors up. So when you eat that tri-tip, they put it right there on your garlic bread. They give you the sauce, or you take it home, and it's had enough time in the car to sort of cool down a little bit. You get it home, you slice it up, or if it's already sliced, it's like beautiful. It's perfect. So we're going to fast forward a little bit on this steak. Usually I wouldn't do this. I would cover it with some foil or just leave it on the cutting board, let it rest for 15, 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, depending on what we're doing. And it'll be beautiful. It'll be perfect. But you know what? I'm going to cut the tail end, of course, because that's a thinner part. It has a tendency to cook a little bit faster. So we'll just take a look. I'll give it a couple slices just so you guys have an idea of what's going on here. Now, the grain on the meat runs sort of not so much like front to back. Okay, it's sort of at an angle. So we're going to sort of cut it at an angle. That's how they do the tri-tip. They cut it at an angle like this. That's why you'll see these smaller pieces. And if you go to like Texas Barbecue in Castroville, a famous place for barbecue, and they have tri-tip, you'll see like these real big pieces. You'll see these little tail pieces. They tend to put that off to the side, and the old man says, "Oh, that's for my dog. My dog loves that piece. That's his favorite piece, so I take it home to him." Okay, so look at that. I did not let this rest, and you can see the juices are coming out. But you know what? The doneness on that is perfect, right?
Yep.
It's pretty good. So in tri-tip fashion, you want to slice it kind of thin, not too thin. We like to taste our meat around here. But you can see it's still very, very pink in the middle. Now, if we let that rest, that eye sort of goes away. That very distinctive pink eye goes away, and then it's like a nice pink hue, even pink hue all the way through. All right, and so that's how we do it in our household. Tri-tip's good, salt and pepper. That's really all you need. Great cut of meat, good fat, great salad. We'll plate it up for you guys so you can see how it can look. There we go. It's a nice little plate. Little demo plate. Not a dinner plate, a little demo plate though. Okay. So we'll do a little bit of this beautiful salad here. Okay. We'll make it fancy. All right. A couple more pieces. Again, just demo. Oh yeah. There we go. It's okay to lick your fingers, you're at home. And then like I was saying, that beautiful vinaigrette, okay? You have that natural vinaigrette. You can use this, if you want to put some greens on the side, use that vinaigrette right over the top. All right, I'm going to just put it over the steak. I know I'm having it with the cauliflower, but I want to put it over the steak too, just sort of boost the flavor a little bit. But you know what? There you go. Tri-tip, okay? Cauliflower. It's worth the work. It's worth the effort. Your friends, your family, they will appreciate it. You put that in a big bowl. You got some slice up tri-tip. You're done, all right? Summertime's easy. So anyway, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate all the support. Please, if you haven't already, go to our website. I'm sorry, our page. Sorry, new to this. Our YouTube page. Thank you very much. Subscribe, like, give us some great feedback. We love our community. We really appreciate all your help in putting this together. Latoya, you haven't seen her all night, but she has been here. She's been helping me. Thank you very much. Chef Jax, of course. My biggest inspiration, Chef Jax. So thanks again, guys. We'll see you next Monday. And, eat well.